Hello, and welcome to Occult Perspectives. My name is Tyler Smith. This is the third video for this YouTube channel. In this video, I wanted to take a little break from the curriculum in Donald Craig's Modern Magic. I had referenced this book a couple times in the past couple videos. I'm going to use it as a reference again in this video. But as far as the relaxation ritual and the tarot contemplation, that series, I'm going to wait another couple videos until I go back into that. I want to get into the topic of Freemasonry. Freemasonry is a very misunderstood topic. And it's not just one thing. It means many different things to many different people. Pretty much every person you ask, you're going to get a slightly different answer. The technical definition for Freemasonry is it's an allegory, essentially. It's defined as a system of morality, veiled in allegory and symbolism. It's a play, it's a story, it's moral lessons taught in a symbolic way. And there's two separate terms when it comes to Freemasonry. There's speculative Masonry and operative Masonry. Operative Masonry refers to, I don't want to get into ancient civilization stuff right now because it goes way further back than the building of cathedrals and medieval edifices and such. Particularly what Masonry refers to is King Solomon's temple. That's the symbol of the architecture, or the blueprint or format for the spiritual temple of man. And Freemasonry is a process through degree work, step by step, to make the man a better version of himself. It's not about being better than others. If you get that idea or impression, no, that's not what it's about. It's about becoming better than the person you were yesterday. Always striving to be good. To do good unto others and hope that that good, positive energy manifests outwards in love and abundance. Getting back to speculative and operative Masonry. Operative Masons are physical builders. They actually build the structures, and they worked on the cathedrals, many other buildings. It's hard to trace exactly what time period modern Freemasonry would have adapted from as far as the trade guilds of the medieval stonemasons. I want to point out a book called The Hiram Key, and I will most likely be getting into this book in the next video, where it goes on about the origins of Freemasonry and that they didn't really come from the craft guilds of the medieval times like so many people say. We're going to save that for another video. If you have access to this, you can order it online. Maybe there's an ebook or something you can download. I highly recommend this, especially if you're a Freemason. I joined Freemasonry back in 2014, worked my way, progressed through the line, and became master of my lodge in 2017. The current master at the time had a job change. He stepped down. I was the senior warden, so I was next in line. And I took up the mantle, and we are in 2021 now, and I just relinquished that position to the new master back in November of 2020. I was very honored to be master of the lodge. I still go to events, I still help out, and I plan to continue doing so. And that's part of what's inspired me to do this video series. I'm not going to be giving away any secrets or anything that's not allowed to be told. I know where those lines and those boundaries are. In fact, if you want to find out the secrets, or the supposed secrets, which is more just the handshakes and other particulars of the ritual work, it's all online. You know, if you're a true aspirant, if you really want to learn, there's that Bible quote, seek and you shall find. Ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find, knock and it shall be opened unto you. Kind of take that meaning into heart a little bit. Usually we stumble upon information at the times when we're meant to. It synchronistically tends to happen that way. It's been an interesting journey, and I've learned one piece of information at a time, which led to another piece of information over the course of many years now, and it's time for me to give out the information that I can give out. I want to teach people about this stuff. So, operative masonry, physical builders of buildings. Speculative masonry is using the tools of building as symbols in our everyday lives for our character, for more moral development and growth. So it's using symbols rather than physical working tools. These working tools that are physical objects are often used to be the symbols. Just to give an example of one, which is the logo for Freemasonry is the square and compasses. The square is one of the working tools. And I'll get into details about the working tools later on, because they each have a unique meaning. So that's the difference between speculative and operative masonry. Physical builders versus more of a philosophy or moralistic teachings using the building tools as symbols. And you can study the mysteries of Freemasonry without being a lodge Freemasonry. There's what's considered the ancient mystery tradition of Freemasonry. It's the story, the allegory itself. An actual lodge Freemason, it's not exactly the same thing. It's a modern adaptation of old stories. And really, that ancient mystery tradition I was talking about didn't even really start with Freemasons or Freemasonry at all. It goes way back. It's more original stories. Really, the Egyptian story is kind of where the whole story of Hiram and the Master Mason degree comes from. And then those Egyptian prototypes that story came from, it actually goes back further. So it gets really interesting. And we'll get into that in later videos. The structure of Freemasonry, you have Blue Lodge, which is the first 3 degrees. It's Entered Apprentice, Fellow Craft, and Master Mason. Now, to be a full-fledged member of the order, you must be a 3rd degree, a Master Mason. You become a member once you become an Entered Apprentice, but to be a full member with full benefits and everything, you have to get that 3rd degree, the Master Mason. And every Mason, once they achieve that 3rd degree, that Master Mason, it's, everyone's the same, no matter even if they get the 33rd degree or a 32nd degree, or if they proceed onward, and I'll get to that in a moment. Everyone's a brother as a Master Mason. There's no higher honor, truly, is what I've been told. It's really just ends up being more responsibility and paperwork. A lot of people kind of picture that there's this crazy secret stuff going on in the background, but a lot of it is just kind of boring, laborious tasks like paperwork and, the usual administration duties that come with running any kind of charity work or like a company. It's like being the president of a company, but it's a charity company organization. So once you become a Master Mason, you achieve this 3rd degree. It branches off into several directions. You probably heard of Shriners. You have to be a Master Mason to become a Shriner. So all Shriners are Master Masons, but not all Master Masons are Shriners. And the same with Scottish Rite Masons. There are 32 degrees if you decide to go the Scottish Rite route. And then there's a 33rd degree, which is an honorary degree. That's not one that you can really just petition for or try to earn. Well, you can try to earn it, but what it is it's once you've done so much benefit for the Scottish Rite. You know, you've put so much time and invested a lot of care and work and effort, or you've benefited humanity as a whole in some very profound way. You know, then you kind of get, somebody comes and taps you on the shoulder and they say, hey, would you want to be a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason? It's a great honor. I am not a 33rd degree Mason. And then you can join the York Rite. So there's Master Mason, Blue Lodge, those first 3 degrees, branches off into Shriners. There's Eastern Star, which is actually for all Master Masons, and female relatives can join as well. So daughters, sisters of Master Masons, wives, etc. So Eastern Star is another one. York Rite's the other main one, though. Scottish Rite and York Rite are the 2 main off branches from the Master Mason degree. And there's 3 bodies within York Rite. There's Chapter, Council, and Commandery, which consists of 10 degrees total. So there's 10 degrees within those 3 bodies, the Chapter, Council, and Commandery. And where the Scottish Rite ends in the 33rd degree, the York Rite ends actually with the Knight Templar degree. So there is a connection between Freemasonry and the Templars. But of course, modern Freemasonry, that Templar version, it's not the same exactly as the old Templars. I don't want to get that anybody mixed up in that way. They are not the same thing. It is the modern Freemason adaptation of the Templar ritual. All right. So I think, yeah, that pretty much, I mean, that sums up Freemasonry for the most part. Just a real quick, brief summary. We'll be getting into much more detail later on. I also wanted to cover in this video the definition of Magick. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about who this guy is, but Aleister Crowley, I'm sure many of you know who that is. He's one of the more famous occultists out there. His definition of Magick, if I can find it here, is the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with will. Now that is a good definition, because if Magick, technically, if you want something to happen, you're gonna try to create a change which makes that outcome happen. So in Magick, you perform an operation, or let's just use a prayer as an example. Let's say that I was short on money and I needed some money, and I put an intention out into the universe. Now the vibration that you want to put out is if you already have attained the money. That's what people, it's not a desperation thing. You don't want to ask, ooh, please give me money. Please give me money. No. Thank you for the abundance that I have in my life, and that I overflow with prosperity and wealth. Put those vibrations out to the universe as if you've already attained the money, and then let it go. Let it go so that it can come back and manifest. There's more specific operations which can be done, which are real money magic rituals. I'm definitely not going to get into that anytime soon, if I even do cover that. If you want to know more information on that, I do have some references. I could send a link to you. But anyway, magic. There's 3 types. And, you know, just making a change in conformity with will, you have to elaborate on that a little bit, as Donald Craig says. It's not simply, you know, because if you use that definition, you know, technically, you know, I want a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'm taking actions to do that. I'm going into the kitchen and making a peanut butter sandwich. You know, technically that does fit the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with the will. But a better definition, one that's a little more specific, where is it in here? Here's a better definition. Magic is the science and art of causing change in consciousness to occur in conformity with will, using means not currently understood by traditional Western science. So what's interesting about that statement, I'm actually just going to go ahead and read a couple paragraphs here. We have added the idea that the magic is accomplished by some means not known by modern science. A ritual that causes something to occur does not make sense to current Western scientific thought. Therefore, scientists are inclined to think that real magic, since it doesn't fit into their worldview, is nothing more than supernatural hokum. But magic is not supernatural. It follows natural laws if you know what you're doing. It's an input-output system. Whether our entire universe came about either as the creation of an intelligent being or beings, or merely as the result of chance events, we still must come to the same conclusion. Everything in the universe is natural. Some ancient cultures consider the apparent rise and fall of the sun to be a supernatural event. As time passed, it was discovered that the seeming rise and fall of the sun was in fact a natural event caused by the rotation of the earth. As it goes on, the occultism of the past becomes the science of the future. And Western history proves, it says, I am firmly convinced that one day magic will be understood in Western scientific terms. History proves this. Reading, writing, mathematics, astronomy, chemistry, medicine, physics, and more were all at one time deep occult secrets. They were not given to the public. They were kept secret. But today, many of these things are taught to children before they begin school. So here you have a basic definition of magic. Magic is the science and art of causing change in consciousness to occur in conformity with will, using means not currently understood by traditional Western science. Sorry, I'm trying to wrap this video up real quick because I am not sure how much time I actually get. But there's three types of magic real quick. White magic, black magic, and gray magic. And white magic is benevolent magic. It is causing change to occur in conformity with will, not currently understood by traditional Western science, for the purpose of obtaining the knowledge and conversation of your holy guardian angel. We'll get more into the topic of the holy guardian angel, but basically union with divinity. Even the word yoga comes from the Sanskrit root yug, which means yoke or union. So that's where you're trying to unite and attain with your higher self, or God, or however you want to perceive it, or source. That is essentially white magic, or any kind of healing magic. Black magic is the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with will, using means not currently understood by traditional Western magic for the purpose of causing physical or non-physical harm to yourself or others, and is done either consciously or unconsciously. Yeah, you don't want to do black magic because it's only going to come back and bite you in the butt. And I'll get more into that later on as well. Gray magic is the science and art of causing change to occur. I cannot speak today. In conformity with will, using means not currently understood by traditional Western science for the purpose of causing either physical or non-physical good to yourself or others, and is done either consciously or unconsciously. So technically, according to Donald Craig, healing would technically fall under gray magic then, because you're still doing physical good for another person. I would still consider that white magic, but there you have it. That's the definition of gray magic. So gray magic is more neutral. But you know, if you're going to make any change in the physical world more, it seems like on others, or if you're trying to rearrange reality, it is still considered gray magic, even if it has a good outcome. Black magic is when you're hurting yourself or others, whether you mean to or not. And then white magic is union with the divine. You know, all the yogic practices, those are all considered. Yogi Raj is a really great, one of the great masters on YouTube. You should check him out. It's spelled Y-O-G-I-R-A-J, I believe. Yogi Raj. If you type that in, it should come up. Well, it's time for me to end the video. I hope you learned a lot today. Check out my other videos. If you like the video, please give it a like. Please subscribe. Peace and love. Take care.